Well, I mean, you're going to be watching on the English YouTube channel anyways, but you can vote on who we're going to be interviewing next with Seven Worlds Gaming, whether it's going to be Falcons, Navi, or Enigma Galaxy. Make sure you guys get your votes in right now. But as the last note for me, in reference to that last game, really unfortunate to be I8 or Falcons, because TJB, Enigma Galaxy, Navi, and even IWNRX were able to get some consistent points in that last match, make it even harder now for you to catch up to these teams and break through to top 3. And whereas at the bottom of the tables, I mean, we did have Nsilo get a good couple amount of points here, able to put them up to 10th place, which is going to be very important as we progress through the day, because a gap is starting to grow here as well in the bottom of the rankings, where previously it wasn't that many points. But we didn't see Furia, we didn't see Virtus Pro really step up. Ultra Ego getting 0 points on this game. I hate to say it, Max, but it's looking like your boy Rosemary might not make it through.
Well, unfortunately, it's a reality I have to kind of accept, Jason, that might be happening here. I mean, at what point do we start counting out for real some of these bottom squads in the bottom 5? Because we're going to get to that point where right now, IHC technically, oh yeah, they might be able to do a bit of a comeback, but if they still remain in that position by, you know, game 3, I'm telling you, IHC are out, then it's going to be VP, then Furia, then Ultra Ego. We're going to go up that list really, really quickly. Game 1's already done, and we're going on the Erangel, and we know, Jukes, that Erangel right now, for these top teams, for your TJBs, for your Navis, for your Enigma Galaxies, for your IWNRXs, this is going to be their battleground where they get a huge portion of their points. So those bottom squads are going to have a real tough time making it out of that red zone.
Oh, yes, they are, man. I mean, IHC, VP, I think they need to win this next game, to be honest with you, if we're going to see them make it on in, because that door is just closing on them, and they need to kick it wide open with something big, I think, in order to make it into that next stage. But another team that I'm really worried about, Max, and another player that we might not see in the finals is Z-Wolf. And that would be crazy, because Enigma Galaxy just popped off. Navi, TJB, if they want to make it straight to the finals, they need a big game here and soon.
Yeah, we have to see eventually. I'm even looking at Tiamba and Getsoroy here. We need to see a game if you want to try and contend by the end of today for that top 3 position. Again, you got so many storylines happening. The race for top 3, the race to make in survival stage, the race to also not get out of the conversation in the first 2 to 3 matches of today. You still want to stay relevant in the conversation. So all 16 teams have something to fight for here going into these matches, and going into Erangel, you know it's going to get real good. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's becoming do or die time here if you want to have a chance to make it, whether it's into the survival stage or into the grand finals directly. Let's head into our first Erangel of 3 of the day with John Allen and Blaine.
I absolutely agree 100% that it is going to be real nice. Oh, yeah. Going down from the southeast side of the plane path, Milta Power Peninsula, up towards Zaki.
Yeah, we do have a bit of an interesting playing path coming through already. Again, I think that when we look at these games, it is so difficult to call who's going to be dropping out and heading through into the bottom 5. There is a fair few teams that I think all of us here on the broadcast do want to make it into that top 3. But it's hard to decide at this point in time because it has been so close. We do have so many teams who are really good, who could absolutely make an impact in the grand finals, but there is still only 3 slots, and that isn't changing.
No, if you want to grab another slot and you're not making it into those top 3, you need to go through the survival stage, and that is a brutal gauntlet, let me tell you. The teams that set foot in there, it's kind of anyone's game. I mean, you're playing 3 days, you're only playing 2 days of games, which makes it very, very volatile, and it is definitely just that last chance that you are trying to cling on to. So hopefully the teams vying and bidding for the top 3 spots will be able to put up their best show today, because right now the top 3 just had a pretty banger game, right? A lot of double digits being displayed towards the top.
Yeah, a huge amount towards that top side already. And again, like you're saying on that last match, a lot of our teams probably are looking over towards the leaderboards and like, suddenly just became really difficult to rank up with Enigma Galaxy, Tongjiba and Navi all having really strong matches. I think you look at Tongjiba, 161 points. They might have just cleared themselves in towards a guaranteed top 3. Still, things can change. I think it'll depend on this next map. But now the fact that we are on that northwest side, Tongjiba starting in Severny, there is a strong rotational path for them ahead.
Just to put in context the point scorings from last week from Group Yellow, the cutoff for 3rd place, well, Major Pride were in 4th with 184, so if you'd have got 185, you would have been in that 3rd place. 190 was the scoreline for Alpha 7. Team Queso, their countrymen, they have been looking for a little bit of an improvement so far over the course of this tournament. But right now, they're on the bubble. 7WG did manage to get caught up with them. So let's take a listen.
Welcome back to a quick report with the 7WG. This time it's going to be in regards to Team Queso. I got a chance to talk to one of the players. He said that the biggest issue so far in PMGC League stage has been individual errors. They're trying to clean that up. So I know Blank was talking about just teams having to be a little bit more disciplined, especially those bottom teams. This is one team that has to do that, but they also have to be willing to take risks. And right now, the energy is not quite there yet for Team Queso. Hopefully they can pick it up.
Fantastic stuff. I mean, absolutely. More discipline, individual mistakes, seemingly how they feel their games haven't been going as strong as they could do. And right now is not the time to be making those sorts of mistakes, Blank, in that 12th place position.
I think it's fair enough. When you get down towards 12th place, you're right on that bubble. Individual mistakes are going to be happening because there is a lot of pressure on you. This is not a case of, oh, we dropped out the top 3, so I guess we'll go to the survival stage and we'll play out there. This is a case of, we've dropped out into the bottom 5. We're not going any further. We're going home. So those individual mistakes are going to happen more frequently, especially in that last day, which is why the point scoring margin here is so terrifying for a lot of teams, because it's not a case of we have to beat 1 or 2 squads ahead and they're 10 points behind, so it should be easy to stay ahead. No, it is Getso Roy in 8th place all the way down to 15th place of Virtus Pro, all with a big chance to leapfrog over one another. So it's going to be an absolute war up until those end moments, and for these teams it is a case of marshalling the soldiers on their team to get ahead and do what needs to be done here in these matches. But it is that discipline that is required, and individual mistakes are going to cause you big problems, because we know a lot of times if you're dropping one player at the start of the game, that can be horrendous for your chances towards stage 6, stage 7.
Yeah, absolutely can. It's a really rough time. I mean, you just need everything on your side at this point. Whatever you can get, you'll take it. I mean, right now, 11th to 12th place, Blank, it's a tiebreaker between FaZe and Team Queso. So it is so close. Every single advantage matters. If that point goes to your direct competitors as well, it's not only that 1 point that you don't get. Well, it's not the point that that you don't get. It's also a gain for them as well, right? So it becomes an even more dramatic swing, losing those small little margins early on into a match. And that's what teams are looking to avoid. Right now, it feels like Tianba is kind of on this island on their own, just sort of the only team not super likely to be able to make it to the top 3 and not super likely to drop all the way out towards 12th place as well. And right now, it's kind of a weird placement and a unique one within this fold.
Chamber's got somewhat comfortable with this position, though, I would say. I think I said it yesterday that they're not quite as good as our leading teams, but they're not on that same level as our teams who are desperately trying to clamber up towards a position that feels safe. Getso, Roy, and Vengeance are the interesting ones to me, because I look downwards and Cilio, FaZe, Team Queso, Alter Ego, Furia, VP, and IHC all have this pedigree behind them. So it's just odd to me seeing that, you know, it's Getso, Roy, and Vengeance who are ahead of them here. And I think that they have just had a better understanding of what improvements they've needed to make throughout the days. We had a nice little graphic pop up just earlier for Vengeance where it was 1.7 average eliminations to now 2.8 going into day 3. So they definitely went lower deck, cleared up those holes, those breaches in the ship, and they have looked a lot nicer because of it.
Yeah, definitely need to be sailing on open water there, nice and calm. That's what you're looking for, but there's going to be plenty of chop, swell in the future, I'm sure, for them too. Because as you said, it's going to be an all-out war here down towards the bottom side of those tables, especially, not just towards the top side for these small margins, these small little openings. Teams condensing towards the middle of this map here, over towards South George. This circle pushes up to the northwest side of this. And in general, teams seem to be favoring a more central style, as we've become accustomed to over the last few days.
SI8 on our screens. That's the team that I think you really want to get in towards that top 3, but it's looking less and less likely as the day goes on. Realistically, again, it's what I was saying earlier. Realistically, Nigma Galaxy, Na'Vi, Tongji Bao, all three of these teams just need one more big game, and then they're pretty much set for the rest of the day, because the consistency that they've displayed, I imagine after one strong match, it's going to be hard to profit over the top of them going forward unless they completely drop the ball on these games. And I think that when you are this far ahead in terms of seeing those tables reveal with Na'Vi, Nigma Galaxy, and Tongji all having a good game on Sandhawk, the first match of the day, it gives you this sense of calm, right? Which I think is really important for consistency, because I imagine there's a whole bunch of turmoil going on for our teams towards the bottom of the lobby, that fear of being knocked out of the whole tournament. Our teams at the top, the worst thing that can happen to them is to go to survival stage.
Yeah, that's still, though, a much less favorable result, as I said before, right? For survival stage.
Well, much less favorable? I don't know.
What, than getting a direct qualification?
No, I was saying getting knocked out.
Well, yeah, more favorable than getting knocked out entirely, but it's still a really dangerous situation.
It is. I think I'd rather stay at the tournament.
2 days. You only get, yeah, that's true, but it's still, my point is, it's not pleasant. It's really, really tricky to make your way through the survival stages. And I'll concede you're definitely right on the fact that it's better to be in the tournament than not in the tournament. But in general, it's still got to be a big weight on your shoulders, especially if you place fourth and you only get that. You only miss out by like 1 or 2 points, or even on a tiebreaker. It's in general really, really galling to have that sort of a result unfold in front of you as well. When you see the teams ahead of you just accelerate away, and you're like, I didn't keep up with them. We are now going to have to go again. We're going to have to go for round 2.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to see that one happen. I agree. It's not fun going into survival stage. But for, like I said, for these teams at the top side, getting that first strong game of the day, the fact that it's all three of them getting it, it's surprising to say the least. But yeah, it does mean that for the start of the day here, for our next 5 matches, Nigma Galaxy, Na'Vi, and Tongji are all just laughing really at this point in time, because they've been able to accelerate ahead from a lot of our squads. IW, NRX, and Falcons still looking to put those points margins back up again, but there has just been mistakes coming through from both these teams. IW, NRX not always looking as bold and as controlling over some of their team fights we've seen over past years, and the Falcons, I would say that there's mistakes happening on that team. They're still a really strong squad. They're still putting up points margin because they all are individually very strong players. But there's just some little moments here and there from them where I'm like, that didn't go well and it could have gone better. For instance, even that fight versus FaZe, I think although East is in boot camp, technically quite central, I think you give up the central position to make sure that you're not going down in essentially a 2v3.
And if you want to catch up with Falcons, well, you can vote for them to be the team that is interviewed. If you're enjoying the interviews, you guys, the fans, have an opportunity to let us know which team you would like to hear from next. And if you're in the English PUBG Mobile Esports YouTube channel, you can cast your vote for either Falcons, Na'Vi, or Nigma Galaxy. We're all on standby for an interview with 7WG at some point during the show. So make sure that you are voting to say which team you want to hear from. So we'll catch up with them and get you all that juicy gossip as to what they're feeling, how they're looking at the last set of the matches today, and getting on into this one. So definitely make sure you're heading on over there to have your say, because I know there's certainly plenty of interesting information out there, but the question is, who's going to have it available for us? Now, looking at this shift, that is plenty interesting, Blank. IHC at the top of Everest, overlooking their domain.
We see some nasty fights on top of Everest throughout Group Red actually already. And this is one of the circles that I really wanted to watch. I don't think we've seen too many Everest circles before. And I always really like the dynamic of the fielded area down towards the south of Everest and the compounds that kind of lie along the base of Everest itself. It's always a really fun circle, and I think it does test a lot of our teams of how they want to play out their rotations. Do they play Ruins, stay a little bit out of the way? Do they try and be the king of the mountain? Because FaZe is now looking to head up over towards our eastern side, and IHC is looking for their response. And already FaZe is getting pushed back a little bit, but I think that is from off angles.
Maxman's highlighted something as well in this in the group chat, is that we're at 12.5 minutes. This is almost certainly the longest we've seen a game go without losing a single player, and he's topped that one off with a hashtag discipline, which I think is fairly apt. He's also brought up in our group chat that this is a circle that IHC used to qualify for PMWC in the spring, so definitely something that they are familiar with and they're ready to fight for it.
Hey man, the previous point was from the jukebox himself. Is Hot Jukes.
Oh, you're right. Oh my goodness.
I
think it was Kalaris actually. That's my bad.
Yeah, you got to give him credit. Credit where credit's due, you know.
No, it was Hot Jukes.
But yeah,
that's my bad.
we do finally lose some players. 30 minutes in. So 2 players now down, but yeah, a lot of players just looking to keep themselves on side. It needs Vengeance to lose those 2, and Vengeance, who was on the up and up there, I think they really just need to have one more decent game and keep that consistency up. But here's Falcons up against Na'Vi. This is a big fight, and already one player goes down in Lemon and is flushed out. Now, what is Na'Vi's decision here? Do they continue the fight or do they send away? This is one of those spots where you can get good nades over towards the top. There's a little ditch here where you can see Falcons playing in. And I think for Na'Vi, it might just be a case of leave this alone, try and head further in. But Team Cases already picked up that strong compound that sits on the western edge of Everest, and Na'Vi's been pushed out into the blue.
I mean, the difficulty for Falcons here is that they are locked in as 2 here. Actually, finally, a flex out comes through. The rest of the players are a lot closer to the next circle and trying to make work on the path forwards for them, but turning RV around, that's going to allow them to regroup now to their forward position. I think they've still got the 1 player on the front foot there. Na'Vi losing 1, but we'll get away with 3, rotating up to the north.
It's a quick decision they make because they know that they're heading into stage 4. That's where the circle's going to really start to pump damage across to them. They wanted just consistent games coming through, and that circle really does not benefit them whatsoever. Though Falcons are running into quite the zone of death over on this western side. So we've got Enigma Galaxy, Team K, so Tiamba all lined up here, and Falcons were one of the last to enter. They have this small field with the ridge sides on the roads to play around with. You can see there IHC already finding the shots over towards 6, knocking him out the vehicle as they attempted to get up towards Everest. What a bold push from them.
Move all the way up into the thick of it. Falcons taking a lot of damage from Tianba. There's the spray down onto Action, sorry. There's the nade over the top from QZ to just make life all the harder. From the south side, the crunch is on. This is just a 1-player flex out from Tianba. Enigma Galaxy really sit in front of the Falcons. That is their major hurdle, but it's just so hard when you've got a pest over the ridgeline just launching nades at you time and time again, even if he is getting backed off, but gets that healing on. The Falcons just have to slow things down. The question I have, though, is where did Tianba go? Because of the circle shifting off of Everest, they do have to move out to the east, but there isn't too much conflict there for them to worry about.
The difficulty of heading towards the east here, though, is that you're locked into trying to play around where ASIA is playing, and then any ground towards the north side of ASIA, it's somewhat no man's land. You need a clean fight versus ISA to make this happen. That means 4 players left alive, so Tiamba's got to be pretty careful here. They do find Icy as he tries to wrap through.
Will manage to get that spray down. Another knock to the back lines, and Tiamba are doing well, but unfortunately, finally an opening is found, and XC has to hit the deck as well, has to get some healing done. On their flank, Falcons are pushing in. Enigma Galaxy could third-party this. We've seen them do it quite a lot before. It looks like they're going to repeat that action, moving up into the fight, trying to pick off some of these points, and in a crucial qualification position, Shan lighting up the players on the ridgeline. The Falcons are falling to it, but there's the off angle coming on through for Enigma Galaxy, who really want to pick these points up where they can. The shutdown onto the Falcons, their bid for the top 3, once again curtailed here in our first area go.
Yeah, Falcons out again with only 2 eliminations. It's a sad experience for them so far. And being cut out both first few matches means that the pressure just mounts and mounts and mounts here. For Vengeance, I think they're going down to just the 1 player now as Noise hits the deck, as Nick Galaxy will pick that up with 3 eliminations already saddled away for themselves. Na'Vi's in a very weird spot over on the northeast side, so I can't imagine they're getting too much further into this one. PMGC, on the other hand, northeast side of the field. They're happy.
They are really, really chilling right now. That is a big pickup for them on that position. All 4 of their players alive. A mad dash in for Nick Galaxy. Well, less mad, more calm, calculated. But Team Queso are here to play as well. Let's see if these individual mistakes can be patched up. An immediate opener. And that's great to start things off for Team Queso, but there's a little bit of danger left in the wings. Where did that nade come from? The backline pressure, and Incilio picked them up almost immediately. A hop out the back, and Fash does get knocked, but he can start the crawl on through. Nick Galaxy looking to rampage on the compound, and Westron holds down that angle. Redlick at the backline, launching nade after nade. Can they get Fash back up? Incilio holding well against a double crash.
Yeah, Incilio, I don't know how they've kind of got away with this, but they certainly have, so well done to them. But obviously, this is not an easy position to be in for Incilio. The fact they've been able to battle back is very important for their point scoring. Nick Galaxy still going at it, though, and with 1 player down the back lines, Westron and Fash will regroup alongside with Redlick. There's tons of nades pouring out over on this high ground at the moment.
IHC looking to fend off FaZe, but 1 goes down. Rogue is traded. An immediate flush comes through, and FaZe are pushing IHC up to the wall with their backs to it. I think they might just fall through. And IHC have to fold, move down the sides of Everest here, play on as 2.
I see, sits underneath, and again, this is a team that does usually have pretty damn good control over towards the Everest position. Sad to see them fall like this, though. Xiol still up and available. Nick Galaxy takes control of that high ground plateau. Incilio will sit underneath, but both these teams fairly protected off against one another, though on the edge of the circle.
Nick Galaxy with that high ground ridge overlooking the fields to the south. They can hold on to this. Even with 3 players, they'll have a massive impact and a great chance to pick up more eliminations. They're up to 4, and that is fantastic news for them. They'll look to try and hold that. FaZe, they managed to get off of the side of Everest down to the roadside. They will have to cross it and figure out where they get to go after that. Alter Ego behind TJB and next door to Virtus Pro, both going to have to make their move. It could be another double crash on this northeast side.
About nice spot, but do take a knock. It is Virtus Pro and Alter Ego attempting to get in. Alter Ego trying to make up for past mistakes on that last game where they got handled by Na'Vi pretty easily. They tried to make that crossing from the northwest side. Good Molotov will finish off 6-7-6 in that front line. But yeah, there's tons of off angles all over the place. Nasty lineup from that northeast edge. In comes Ghetto Roy versus Furia, though. And it's Zunder trying to hold off on the inside. Silence crouched on the outer edge. Just Porsche remaining. Good cleanup. And that's Furia with 7 elims on the game. A wonderful start for them here on our angle. And that puts them back up into a position where they can challenge versus a lot of our teams that sat around that 11th place bubble.
They really have been keeping up the pace. It was an unfortunate finish on Sandhawk for them to kick off the day. They had that north side position. The circle was a hardship down to the south, and a difficult approach cut them out of it. This time around, they're not letting that phase them. We'll be moving in again from the north side, but they pushed in, and as you say, 7 eliminations. The placement points will start to add up fairly soon, and hopefully they can keep their ascension going, and the Brazils from the desk can get a little bit bigger on Hot Jukes from 7 over in the arena as well. Virtus Pro would take a shot to TJB and actually finding more and more openings, Quack.
Yeah,
I mean, it is Alter Ego and Virtus Pro going up against PMGC right now. Malloy gets the rundown on towards Flower. IQ's able to find Malloy in the process. Triples up towards Dixie. It is a
nightmare on this northeast side. And Alter Ego looking to clean up the pieces afterwards. But in comes Furia. Arthur's rocks up. IHG over towards Nick Galaxy. What is happening? It is all systems go for every single team here as they attempt to transform this game into something that keeps their tournament alive.
ASI8 starting to flex out from the south side, establishing a full baseline of fire to cut teams out, trying to move from the top of the hill. FaZe lose Mela on the high ground, still Furia close by. They've lost one, but they still have a little bit more power left in the bank. Unfortunately, though, that might just be the sails being clipped there. And they'll have a difficult time moving Koyovsky off. Still 7 points on the match, and that is going to prime them to be in position to make this one work. The placement points will start to kick in a little bit. FaZe accelerating away from them, though, and the goalposts will continue to move. ASI8 isolated on this south side. Blank, they might have a good chance here. Triple S goes down to it, and that is going to be another elimination found. 4 points on this match, with Na'Vi down, with IWNRX down. Nick McGalaxy most likely going to be going down here as well. This is a big opportunity for the team from Pakistan.
For ASIA, like they were playing on this south side for such a long time, and again, if the circle starts to push down towards the south, you have a great control over towards that fielded area. I think what's going to come into effect though in a little bit is ASI starting to move into the circle. There will be a lot of angles looking down that way, looking for free picks. You can see how open it is for ASIA, which is why they're quite split right now on this 2-2.
The difficulty is, though, for the teams on the hillside, you can't take free open picks, right? For Alter Ego, you can't step up and go for shots because there's teams out to your west side. You've got FaZe who are going to be looking over at you. Luckily, they managed to find Falak, and that now flank has been curtailed somewhat. The pressure that they're feeling is lowered. Now, Alter Ego needs to make the most of this time, make the most of this opening to get further on in, and you can see they've just crept forwards a little bit to the next rock on their path.
Noki taking shots over towards Alter Ego now with 3 players still up, 4 eliminations. It's not been a horrid game for Alter Ego, but Boysil will get the explode in the vehicle, takes himself down off the back of it. I think that is just a case of trying to explode that vehicle, but took a bit too much damage from the sidelines.
Nades,
these nades are nasty.
Oh no, but they're not quite bouncing right. Nearly catching it. Finally going to be able to find that shot. That's 2 players down for Alter Ego, and ASI8 may have just been able to seal those 2 away. Very unlikely that Alva can get back in, get those reses. Just try and play on as a solo. You can't put your head up. You will get taken down. And ASI8 controlling from the fields now. Blank, I really like that duo flank out. It was worrying when they took a knock over on that east side to Alter Ego, but they picked it up admirably with a lack of roll down from Alter Ego, the lack of availability of that as an option. They have controlled this south side, and I'm really in awe of this play style right now from ASI8. I'd love to see them navigate these circles so well.
For ASI8, they're doing a really good job. Again, they were one of the few teams that play down towards that south side. There is a rollout you can make. I think they understood the worry that there were going to be teams looking down from the hilltop towards their position. This is why they take this lineup, and they are just causing problems for all these teams that they know are all in contest with one another on this northeast side. Another great shot from Falak. 7 eliminations found for them. This could be a massive match for ASIA to get them back into the picture here.
Moving that high ground angle now as Falak tries to roll on forwards. I think staying up on this hill isn't a terrible idea. It's dangerous, though, and if FaZe catch this, if they capitalize on this lone player, oh my goodness, has to fall back, and that's exactly the sort of danger that I'm talking about. However, just his presence here makes things so much harder for FaZe. It means that they can't go for a clear roll down towards Incilio.
It's been a very, very well-played game here from ASA in terms of the hold on the picture. FaZe's position somewhat interesting. I mean, it's a wild rollout. They do find IQ. Mormon goes down to Noki, but potentially Resable here. Exploding the vehicle is going to be dangerous. That might be all of FaZe going down. They know they desperately need to get this vehicle exploded, but the shots coming through from Noki in a very shrouded position. Man's playing an assassination game right now.
Yeah, he's in the circle as well. Onzin's looking for that res. The high ground regroups. Falak moved in to keep people alive, but unfortunately did go down. IQ did get res in the meantime, and the nades can start to come through on this position. A bounce over the top, and Onzin's loses his teammate, but not his life just yet. Another one comes on through, but again, doesn't quite connect. Coming through on the back line, Onzin's gets that heal off. As the shots will ring out as soon as he pokes his head out.
Onzin's just trying to live. I think this is becoming more and more likely to be a win here for ASA8. Sileo, Fash will find Snowix. This is still all battling off on that western side. So Enigma Galaxy do make it fair way through, get a 4th place. I think they're going to be too unhappy with that kind of result here.
Just want to remind people watching as well that we do have an opportunity to vote for a team that you want to see interviewed. If you head over to the English PUBG Mobile Esports YouTube channel, you can cast your vote in the chat. But let's get locked back in onto this match as ASI8 make their bid towards the top 3. 10 eliminations. For the backline is UZM locking it down from the crate, and they have control over this. Incilio have been a roadblock for everybody trying to move through. IHC, remember as well, they're looking for a top 11 spot to try and close out this game. They've descended from the top of Everest. It looked like they may have been done and dusted, but they're into a top 3 guaranteed. Godless doesn't know which way to look, though. And he has not been lucky on finding those shots either. Zjol pushed behind the building, needs some healing, but the blue zone is here. ASI8 are clamping down on this position as well, all in the meantime.
It's fair enough to come through. Incilio might have had a chance on this game. ASA, their control from that south side has been just monstrous, though. Fash not likely to be brought back up into action as Westron and Redlick just attempt to try and get themselves back to a position where they can maybe fight this one out. I don't know how the meds are looking for them, though. And that is Fash going down. 3 players still alive, 12 eliminations. A huge chicken dinner available here for ASI8.
A massive opportunity. Zjol goes down, and that is IHC done. It's now just Incilio. 2 players on the inside. 13 elims for ASI8, but a nade up to Noki opens the door for an upset. Incilio can look to move out here, but they're on the inside of the building. They have to leave. They have to step out into the open. The blue zone pushes them away, and ASI8 have them on a chokehold. Moving around the edge there, Westron tries to break out wide. Redlick up on the high ground, but both of them spotted. 1 and 2, and the pride of Pakistan shines through.
Absolutely. What a game from them. It looked to be getting a little bit dire for ASI8, but they bring it around town on that last game. And not a lot of teams decided that it might be a good idea to play from the fielded area. And it is a really hard place to play on the map, but just goes to show how strong this team is from Pakistan in terms of their control, in terms of the lineup. Very, very well done. It requires some serious maneuvering to make that work.
That was a fantastic close down. ASI8 in charge every step of the way. Let's head back to the desk.
You know, to look at potentially coming in from the south side, and they get themselves a buttload of eliminations on top of that. This is going to be I8 most likely breaking through into top 3. But Hotjukes, Max Ben, what was your takeaway from this game?
That everyone is scared of I8. Oh my god. I mean, we saw Drix at one point, Falak just pushing onto TJB. He gets the clutch, by the way. He gets the elims. Like, okay, that's a crazy clutch. And then all of Alter Ego book it. The moment they see Falak get remotely close to their location, like, we don't want to deal with a Pakistani. They're too powerful. We're out of here.
yeah, and rightfully so, because these guys were just on fire this match and perfectly on time too. I can't stress it enough. If these guys want to make it straight to the finals, they needed a game like this right here, right now. A chicken dinner with double-digit eliminations. This is 100% going to put them in the running for top 3.
I was a little bit scared though at one point, Dukes, looking at Knock him like, you're getting a bit overconfident. You're learning from Falak. That's a bad tendency to have, but sure, he does get taken out. But the other 2 players, IQ, was able to just lock down that game versus Incilio and get himself the chicken dinner that really, as Jason said, right, they needed, because we were somewhat starting to count them out of the race, but this game puts them right back into it. And this is a game that we might look back onto at the end of today and say that was the game that helped them push themselves in top 3.
And you know what? I gotta just reiterate it again, dude. That off angle from Naki was just
भाई यार मिथिक फोर्स क्या चेंज होगा क्या वैसे? लग तो वही रहा है भाई, यहाँ का फ़ोटोज़ इमेज वगैरह थोड़ा चेंज हुआ कि नहीं था पहले। पहले इसका फ़ोटो था। कैसा ड्रेस है भाई? तो जो भी हो, इरंगल के मैच ने आपने तो देख ही लिया। नेक्स्ट और एक इरंगल मैच है, फिर के बाद फिर से और एक इरंगल मैच है, फिर एक मिनामार है, फिर और एक मिनामार में। भाई ग्लोबल में ऐसा मैचिंग होता है वैसे, पता नहीं क्यों इतने 3-3 इरंगल मैच, फिर 2 मिनामार और 1 सैनॉक। हम लोगों के इधर भी ऐसा सीन नहीं है, सारा मैप एक एक करके खिला देते हैं। कोई ना, भी स्टार्ट होगा थोड़ी देर बाद।
because I think for Tongjibao, it's actually really important they get into the top 3. Like they were saying before, and from a lot of the really good coverage we've had from 7 by the stage, Tongjibao just didn't have a lot of time to prepare, right? And I think that is something that's really, really quite... something that we need to hammer home here is that if they get into a top 3, it gives them a ton of time to watch the other groups. It gives them time to figure out exactly who's going through in towards that top 3. Start doing that studying now whilst they have a chance, as opposed to having to prepare for a survival stage where likely a lot of those teams they prepare for, only a couple of them are going to be going through to the grand final. So much nicer for them now to get in towards that top 3, get the direct invite, and start doing some more targeted study to the teams that they know they're going to be going up against in the future. So I think that is something to take into big consideration. That's the advantage of being in the top 3, is that there is way less teams that you need to be watching out for in the future, and means your preparation can be much more targeted.
Yeah, a lot more open road, and you can give yourself the best platform to play in towards those finals. ASI8 going to be looking to leave the military island. No roadblock, as IWNRX have already moved from Ferry Pier. Virtus.pro are still in Primorsk, so no one in their way just yet. They should be able to get across this bridge fairly simply, unless they psych themselves out and decide, ooh, I don't know if I trust that. I wonder if there's something to be said for moving some vehicles into a position that looks like people are holding in the buildings on the far side of the bridge in this scenario, if you're IWNRX, and trying to psych ASI8, slow them down on their approach.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's an interesting one. I think there were some road spikes set up as well. I'm not sure where exactly they were on the map, but it's definitely curious to see how these teams are causing problems for other squads. I think if the road spikes were already set up by IWNRX and just left there, here they are. Yeah, they were. Oopsie daisy.
Oh no. No, Noki.
Oh no. Oh, it's so hilarious. That is so hilarious. I mean, well played to IWNRX, knowing this would happen. Yes, that they can't hold them out, but what they certainly can do is really deal some damage to the vehicle presence, at least.
Is the other one going to catch them? Felt like on the swivel, trying to dodge them.
Yeah,
go
left, go left.
It. Guys, I've cleared the right side of the road. Just go on that. Goodness me, that is unfortunate.
That's actually hilarious. I really enjoyed that. Well played, IWNRX. Cheeky maneuver. And in one of the second to last Aaron goals to do it on the day, yeah. That's a way to catch your opponents off guard. That vehicle's done for.
Yeah, it's on the rims. No way to get that one back. And it's on the rocks as well. Team Queso, as we hop on over towards the more central areas of the map, playing out to the east side of Rozhok, just southwest of Yasnaya Polyana, of those fields. And playing pretty chill right now. They are certainly not chill on the standings, though. They only managed to... Well, they didn't manage to get anything really done last match. And on 90 points, Alter Ego, Furia, Virtus.pro, all breathing down their neck. And 8 points now separates 11th to 12th. This is the biggest this bubble has been, I think, for all of this group stage so far. That's probably the biggest we've seen that bubble jump be. 8 points.
Yeah, it actually is a bit of a separation, which is funny considering, like you say, it is only 8 points. It really is not a massive margin to be scoffing at, honestly. But for FaZe, wow, it's the safest they've felt in a long time, alongside with Vengeance at 98 points too. But we'll see how this circle pans out, as it is fairly central right now over towards Rozhok way, but knowing how Group Red has gone, it's likely going to be a northern shift, that it is. I didn't even get time to say it before the circle threw it in there. But yeah, up towards that northern side. Tongjibao, once again, haha, we have the circle.
Tricked you. We're on the edge. Just kidding. We're in the middle again. How do you like them apples? Goodness me. So pushing up to the north side of the river, going to be high priority for a lot of these teams. ASA8, they're already making their way through. No more spike traps, hopefully, to be laid out in front of them as they pass IWNRX on their left-hand side, trying to make their approach and getting ahead of that one. But a lot of teams all condensing over towards the bridges to the east of Rozhok, towards Yasnaya Polyana as well. Only one team right now on the west swing, which is IHC, moving up from their Everest position, and Virtus.pro super late out of Primorsk. All these teams crunching in, and it's causing some fights.
And they all have to move so incredibly quickly over towards that northern side as well. So it's a difficult one. Alter Ego probably with the best path ahead of them over on that northeast edge up towards the compound that sits down towards the south side of Stalber. But yeah, it's a difficult crossing. See, Falcons can't really go for that same play they made before, which was to set up underneath the bridge on north side of Rozhok. And Na'Vi already down a player, which is rough here. I did enjoy the fact that, you know, we got told earlier that even the coach from Tongjibao realizes that, you know what, they have been lucky, but they're not going to let those blessings go to waste and pick up more points off the back of it. But for Tongjibao, I think they're lying. I think that they have a circle magnet they're not telling anyone about, and they're just trying to play it off all cool.
Oh, you know what? That actually makes so much sense. And it's basically truth now, I think.
Yeah.
You said it. And
that's right.
That's how that works. TJB, I mean, just unreal on this one, but still not out of the woods just yet. With the number of teams descending on this location, Getso Roya now close by, FaZe over the hill, Alter Ego. As we take a look at a replay, this was the pickup from FaZe to be able to find the first and only point so far in this lobby, 10.5 minutes in against Furia, which is a little bit unfortunate. I'm surprised that this is the only casualty of this crossing. Oh wait, no, Na'Vi lost a player to Tiamba, so there's been 2 casualties in this lobby. But still, I feel like there should be more on a circle like this.
I think so as well. I mean, I think a lot of teams are just realizing that, you know what, for the guys around this circle, we can figure out where exactly these players are coming from. They've had 3 days of play now in terms of figuring out these rotates, analyzing those rotates as well. So they're all making these interesting decisions. Versus Pro even on a nice western rotate. You can see them here on your screens heading over towards shooting range. It's a smart decision, smart choice. One that was born of necessity as well, considering they are in 15th place. But they know they need a strong match. And if they can make a gamble, a bit of a risk, they're not going to have a lot of scouting done, but they do get in towards that western side of shooting range. And now they need to backstab over towards IWNRX, which I imagine IWNRX are not going to be happy about because they're desperate for some big points on this game. But for Virtus Pro, it's way more important for them to stay in the tournament.
Absolutely. Virtus Pro moving in on that west side. IWNRX are actually moving up north to deal with Alter Ego's approach from that side of the map, which of course does need to be handled, but that might allow Virtus Pro to get in and ahead of them. Falcons as well, moving up the bank of the river from that west edge, as Virtus Pro move closer to the IHC compound, or the position that they hold that overlooks that south side. Is difficult to play though if a team like IWNRX starts taking shots down towards IHC.
Taking a look at the map here in terms of positioning. Weird circle though, dude, because we're heading down towards that south side again, and Rozhok is still in. Nigba Galaxy is praying that the circle continues to move down towards the south because they have a strong spot over towards the warehouses on high in Rozhok, giving them a bit of that high ground advantage, allowing more scouting to come through later on. Falcons also managed with this southern shift on the circle to set themselves over towards that western side. I think that was very, very lucky for them that this happened, but they made a quick decision to route themselves into a better spot. These wide wraps are now killing off Tiamba, though, sadly. They tried to wide wrap all the way to the northern side, only for circle to come back down again, and now they are flowing in through shooting range behind Virtus Pro, behind IWNRX. I imagine the northwest side of the map is about to get very hot very soon.
There is a lot of teams moving in who set up to that north side, and a little squonky south shift has caused
squonky?
A little bit of, I know, it's a good word, isn't it? Down towards that south side has caused a little bit of panic potentially. Well, not panic, but disarray certainly over on this north side. Tianba at the back of the queue here, starting to suffer to the blue. Stage 3, not pleasant to sit in. It's doable, but not ideal. However, we did see their proclivity for staying out in the blue zone back in Sandhawk. They stayed there for ages. They seem to like it, like a warm bath. But unfortunately, it's a little bit too hot for the health bars, and you do need to get out of it sooner rather than later.
I think stage 4 is going to be the big one, right? That is going to be the big shift on the circle. Shan goes down for Tiamba. This is what I was saying before, is that for Tiamba, they love these wide ramps. They love making their way into circle from unconventional areas, but most of the times they just have no info of where they're going into, and that's what's really hurting them. I don't think they mind too much as long as they're able to put up consistent points, but it feels less to me now that Tiamba's making a break for top 3 and now just accepting the fact that they're likely going to be going to through to survival stage and just looking for consistent points on the games. Woo.
TJB. That's what I'm looking at right now, and I think most teams will be as well. That top spot looking to be a little bit more squared away time and time again with these shifts. Tiamba, they're moving into these bridges, and now this is something that we saw yesterday, was these bridges on circles like this are actually really, really impactful. The position allows you quite a lot of cover from high ground shots, and you have so much influence on teams trying to look to navigate the crossings. In general, it can be quite profitable. Not necessarily a game-winning position, but certainly a points-earning one.
I mean, only 2 players, though, means that it's more of a survival spot for Tiamba going forward. You know, I think that Tiamba turned off the magnet for a second to throw us off the scent, let it go down towards the south side, then dragged it back up towards the north. But Vengeance here, gone. Blink of an eye. Yeah, deleted.
Guess so. Roy just tucked them into the ether, and they're gone. Never to be seen again. Thanos couldn't even do that. That's crazy.
Control Alt Delete on that bad boy. Pull the task manager. End task on Vengeance.
Oh, that's pretty cruel.
Yeah. Over. Well, I mean, that is still good stuff for Getso Roy. Again, I think haven't been our craziest team in the lobby, but certainly a team that has worked their socks off to stay in this tournament. I'll tell you that now.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, as I said, like right towards the start, it's Incilio and Getso Roy. These 2 teams that they're not having massive games, but they are just survivors in these circles, making some solid rotates. Getso Roy sent into this position very, very quickly, Blank, the one that they've just been able to hold off successfully. And rightly, they've managed to weather the storm here, but they have lost a player, which is unfortunate. It's unlikely that they go fully down, and I'm expecting them to place into, I would say, a top 7 from this position. I feel like that's fairly likely, as Furia losing their last player. Team Queso able to pick that one up. And actually, remember Team Queso, well placed right now. Only 4 points now behind the bubble.
Okay, so again, we were talking about them earlier in terms of their energy being quite low today, but they need to bring that energy up. And with Vengeance going down, you're right, there is now an opening to be had. And Cilio going against Team Queso, though, as they make this crash. And these crashes, I think there's only one that's worked out for them, and it is versus Alter Ego previously on day 2 on our angle itself. But since then, the aggressive crashes coming through from Team Queso, I hate them. I hate them so much. I think that they're ill-informed. There's no smokes been thrown down to cover off windows. There's no preemptive nades. There's no backstop in play either. So I think for Team Queso, these crashes need to be reworked. However, it's day 4. There's no time to be discussing this type of thing now.
IWNRX currently suffering a crash from Virtus Pro. They got in ahead a little bit, but there is danger afoot, and there's only 1 player for IWNRX. You could see in that picture-in-picture, bottom right of your screens, that Virtus Pro are in control of this fight. They've managed to take all but 1 down, and in comes a third party from it as well, with Alter Ego crashing into the far side of the compound. Now it's all on IWNRX to just keep their head down. Alter Ego moving forward, it might handle Virtus Pro for them. Goodness me, it's all topsy-turvy. Alter Ego saving the day. IWNRX fall, and now it's an all-out pitch battle on that north side. In the picture-in-picture, ASIA in the meantime on the main part of your screens, holding out on the south, but the blue zone will push them in.
SI8 looking to keep themselves alive in this scenario. Virtus Pro, though, taking a lot of damage to Alter Ego. Both these teams desperate to find value off the back of this fight. With Alter Ego down to 3 players, only Malloy left. He's a strong player up front and close and personal, but a nice jump shot there from Alva will keep the dreams of Alter Ego alive. But you're right, FaZe hear this fight off the back of it. They have 4 players alive. Arna in 10th place. They'd love to pick up some more points and down their competition.
There's that IHC as well, flexing out to try and third party. This is, I mean, I really like it from demo, but won't be able to find too much. The fight has already concluded there. FaZe back off as well. They sent out to try and third party. They left Mormon back over on the northeast side. ASIA, their big crossing has to happen now. Na'Vi over to their east side. Enigma Galaxy in the way. Blank, this is a scramble for the top three. All three of our second, third, and fourth place teams are battling out in Rozhok.
Hong Jibao, though, suffering to FaZe on the side. I mean, FaZe is taking another fight all at the same time. That's Team Queso out. Ooh, really bad news for them. In 12th place as well. 94 points gained on the match, with Vengeance still above them. But nice nades coming through from the Falcons, who are looking to regain this position. Hong Jibao retreat back into their cave there on the northern side.
Alter Ego go for the crash onto TJB. Alpha goes down first. It looks like TJB were ready, but a third-party potential from Getzo Roy makes this fight dangerous, even if they conclude it now. One knock sent back, and there's that flush coming on through. Alpha's too far forwards to go for the rescue mission here for Alter Ego, but UK's starting to send those nades in towards the top floor. Triple S takes a hit from that nade, doesn't go down, but that is still very, very dangerous. IHC could move over and third-party this as well. Finally, a shot comes through, and that's exactly what they were looking for. Demo moves in and takes a player of Getzo Roy down. There are 4 teams fighting in this compound.
It's a strong compound as well to play. Really nice sightlines. The 3-story gives you a huge amount of ability going forward, and the exit does give you those little ridge sides to play off the back of. Tong Jiabao, though, done a fantastic job to stay in this one with Triple S as well as Longs, but the sidelines are here to play. In the meantime, you can see ASI-8 taking a tumble. That's versus Enigma Galaxy, in fact, who have absolutely annihilated them on the southern side.
We've got Na'Vi as well, trying to make this crossing. Enigma Galaxy want to get back up towards the top spots here, taking down Na'Vi, taking down ASI-8. IWNRX are already out of this one. They have a chance to try and breach towards TJB's position. If TJB go down in this conflict, there is a really big opening. Unfortunately for Enigma Galaxy, they're on 3 players alive, and Tianba are going to hold under the bridge, the trolls they need to move past.
Tianba have not made a sound, not uttered a murmur over on that eastern side. Alter Ego is still desperately trying to finish out this fight versus Tong Jiabao, but that high ground, the 3-story, gives them so many options, so many angles to play from. Circle keeps them in with that cut. I think for Enigma Galaxy, actually, if I was them, I'd assume there's a bridge camp coming through. They'd love to hold on to vehicles, but I think at this point in time, it might just be the right play to go for a swim on the north side of Rozhok and just play across that way. You can slightly cut out the angles coming through from Tianba by playing far over towards the west, but I'm curious to see what their next move is. So many teams that are needing more points, down to a few players remaining. It is Incilio and FaZe, though, still with a strong amount of players into this one. Incilio getting themselves 111 points with 2 extra on the elims. They're looking to see themselves safer. May even overlap Tianba, who has been sort of our test team over towards 7th place for the longest time now.
Looking to try and lock down a spot in these survival stage teams as well. Enigma Galaxy open up. IHC, they're getting spotted. This is a really great pickup. Enigma Galaxy have actually moved 2 of their players up to the northern shore now, trying to stay covered off from Tianba over on the bridge. I like this approach from Enigma Galaxy. Falcons are stopping a lot of these teams from moving too far down, but I think that if a team can get into Falcons' position, they're going to have a great time of it. Incilio moving down, I think they've read this too. Over towards that lower ground now, and taking a tumble down the cliff sides, taking a lot of damage as well. This is dangerous. Tianba are there. Westron dropping those smokes. We're going to keep them safe.
I mean, they know what's coming next, and that was a dangerous move from Incilio, but it has worked out, keeps them alive. XC does find Ralph on the crossing. This is what I sort of expected them to go for, is to drop the smokes. He's a little bit closer to the eastern side as I might have liked, and they did have time with that blue coming in, but IHC, they quickly read the scenario. Enigma Galaxy's a little bit slow on this crossing, but they can stay alive, and Ralph does get back up towards his feet. The big refresh on a lot of the utility, and the meds coming through from the wipe over towards ISI-8. Enigma Galaxy should be fine for now. I just hope they brought enough smokes with them.
Enigma Galaxy, 6 elims, those rocks that sit on the riverbank right now, keeping them safe from Tianba. Obviously, Ralph decided to peek up a little bit and was punished for it on that angle. Coming through from underneath the bridge, and the nades can start to come in from IHC. Teams moving downhill. I mean, it shows you that those ridges, they feel like they can play. Falcon's position, that's what I was saying, I feel like is one of the strongest right now in the circle. This fight needs to conclude. Alter Ego, okay, they try and go for it, but TJB, so ready for it. They're up to 5 elims.
Alter Ego this entire time, I've just been literally knocking on the door of Dong Jibao's free story, like, let me in, and they just cannot find anything. I feel so sorry for them there. And they don't break out from 12th place. They remain down towards 12. Vengeance still ahead of them with 98 points here, and Dong Jibao now looking to work the problem forward.
2 players alive, 5 elims. They do not want Enigma Galaxy to be able to catch up here. A shot around the side, though, when they might not have a choice. Mormon sets them back a pace or 2 as he sends around the corner with a DBS. 5 eliminations for FaZe, and they are making a bid for the survival stages as well. These breakouts from Incilio, from FaZe on this northeast side, they might do enough here to make themselves safe to the next stage.
Yeah, it definitely feels like there are some teams that came into today with a renewed sense of will, and they've been able to get much further forward. Some of our other teams just have felt like the game's already over for them, which is a sad thing to see. But yeah, for FaZe, Incilio, they have found their mojo. They're looking to push this one further. 8 eliminations now for FaZe, with all 4 players up. A big game potentially in pocket for them.
Nade over towards Tiamba. Remove that threat from the sidelines of Enigma Galaxy, and you afford them a lot of freedom here. Dangerous potentially to take Tiamba out of the mix this early, but Tiamba have to move, so do Incilio, so the fight therefore has to wage on. And Bond looking for the res, trying to play on us too. The smoke's going to clear soon, and that's going to be when Incilio can open the cannons. A dangerous approach from that southeast side. The riverbank for Enigma Galaxy is still in. IHC hold the ridgeline, and the Falcons' position now getting overwhelmed by FaZe from the northeast.
FaZe pushing in now. They did lose a player, but were able to get that knock back up again. Fash looks down, finds Bond. That's 2 players from Incilio looking to put up some more points here. 3 eliminations found for Tiamba and a 6th place position. They are still a little bit ahead. I think it's by 5 points here, so Incilio needs to get further into this game. And Enigma Galaxy have just been living on the edge of that embankment. But a quick roll down will take down Icy, and that's 10 elims now for FaZe. A fantastic performance, and they're catching up right now, John.
They are really pushing the boundaries now, as Enigma Galaxy have weathered the worst of it, but the team sat ahead of them will not make it easy either. FaZe, I think, in the strongest command position over this circle. They've got a ridgeline to look down towards the rest of the circle on. They've got those off angles to stay protected from different flanks. It's looking pretty good for them. Can they convert? Can they capitalize and keep this gravy train rolling as IHC get pushed on these long slopes, these open grounds, which make it so hard to move?
IHC on their triple stack on this western side, a team that has been down in the dumps for a long time and now looking to crawl out of squalor, potentially pick up some more points into this game. But it's FaZe who is just rocking the boat here, and everyone's feeling seasick down towards the water side. Enigma Galaxy stay alive for a little bit longer, will secure themselves at least a 3rd place, staying out of the way down towards the southern side of the lobby. Now FaZe versus Enigma Galaxy and IHC.
I mean, this is the ridgeline that I was talking about. It's so strong. It allows you to isolate peaks to various different angles, and FaZe have been playing off of it, taking it away from the Falcons, who could really utilize it, only playing as 2. With IHC trapped on their plateau there, they're going to have to make a little bit of a dash here. They've got 1 player further up, that's Yol, who might be able to find some shots over towards FaZe, but it's really looking pretty dire for IHC in this scenario. Only 2 eliminations into the top 3. And remember, these guys need some big matches to come on out and break this one through. Mormon actually sending forwards, a little bit exposed to Enigma Galaxy potentially, who are, remember, in this next circle as well.
No, they're maintaining presence. They do have the next circle as well, like you said, which is a really big deal because they're still able to play off the back of that embankment. The question is, how do they really escape from this position? They would need to rely on the circle heading down towards the south side again, but that is not the case as we're heading into Zone 9 next, and that's just going to center up over to where Mormon actually cleared out that position earlier. They need to get a couple of knocks. I think the best thing for Enigma Galaxy to do right now is wait for this fight to break out between IHC and FaZe. Then they need to make a quick wrap over towards the eastern side. Now is probably the time to go for it as FaZe pulls the trigger.
Over the top they go. Onsen spray down with a Bison. Ziol's down as well. Rogue is there, the last to stand for IHC. There's damage done to Ventores and a lot of damage done to Onzens. An opening for Enigma Galaxy. Unfortunately, with the way that they cross the river, they just don't have vehicles, Blank. They can't go quickly. IHC are not out just yet. They didn't manage to confirm. Rogue is still there and a potential to res Ziol. With Ralph going down, FaZe are looking to continue to put pressure onto this lobby with a big elimination game. We'll see if they can convert in the final moments here. Mela tries to light up the sidelines, but Rogue is just slipping through the cracks time and time again. Enigma Galaxy, they're down to 2.
This is a lifeline of a game for FaZe. Desperately needing this one to keep themselves alive. An adrenaline shot to the heart for the team here. Another goes down and they are picking up every single elimination they can find. Up to a potential of 25 points on this match. They still need to clear out the last 2 players, and that is them down. FaZe bring themselves back into the light off the back of one game on our angle.
What a stand-up from FaZe. They were third-partying, they were playing on the outside, harrying everybody before them. TJB, Getso Roy, Alter Ego, and the heart is pumping for FaZe Clan. The lifeblood flowing through them once more, Blank. That is fantastic for them to close it down in such a strong fashion. Let's head back to the desk.
You better be careful, son. Last time we saw you dance and do the floss, FaZe Clan dropped down the leaderboards, but at least for them, up the leaderboards, the only way they're going to be moving in this last match. And honestly, Hot Jukes Maxman, that could have been the game. That could have been the match that gets them into survival stage guaranteed.
Yep.
That was the game.
That was the game. 100%. Dude, I mean, come on. I mean, FaZe with that many eliminations, these guys, you can see the excitement on their face because they know, like, hey, you know what? We don't got to worry anymore about being passed up because, I mean, IHC couldn't get it done that game, Max. I mean, they needed that win. I said it. Like, they had to win. Unfortunately, they couldn't. So for me, in my books, I think that's nail in the coffin for them.
I think it's going to be pretty much donezo for some of them, unfortunately, and IHC is going to be one of the squads. I get what they were trying to do. They were playing pretty passive onto the western edge, but because they dropped George Paul, I kind of get the whole idea that, oh, okay, we're not going to be too aggressive this game. We're just going to make it to the late game. But here, relinquishing this high ground spot that you can see in this replay to FaZe was just the nail in the coffin, Hot Jukes. That spot alone gave them such a good ground to hold on to bully IHC, to bully Enigma Galaxy, and all of the other teams too. The thing is about FaZe too, right, Jukes? They didn't just get it for free. They had to fight versus Team Kesso super early, clear their backside, eliminate TJB, and then and only then they could play that high ground the way they did. So FaZe, sure, they were confident in the late game, but it all started in that mid game to make sure they secure that spot in the first place.
I mean, it didn't become easier for them too, like looking ahead in the zones, right? Because they still had TJB, Alter Ego, Falcons to all deal with, to worry about. And that was where the clutter was. I would think I was saying during the match that if FaZe Clan can come out of this without losing a player, I think they're going to win. And they ended up doing so. But how they're able to get through all those teams so cleanly still blows my mind.
Yeah, it was craziness. The fact they were able to survive, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, there were 5 teams over there, man. That's crazy numbers. And, we're not going to lose a single player just to prove Jason wrong. player just to prove Jason wrong. It worked out.
I mean, you take out TJB right after their monster performance too. I mean, how more? I mean, these guys had everything going for them in this game, and who knows what could happen? We still have more matches left to go. I think it's going to be pretty unlikely, but like when you get this opportunity, you have to take it, and FaZe just did not hesitate, and that's what I love. I love to see clutch plays in those championship rounds.
Oh, I didn't see that spray. Ooh, that was insane.
Let me ask you about this, Jukes, because I feel like this might have been a really good indicator from it, or in what I saw. Do you think teams are playing differently now just because of where they are on the leaderboards? For instance, I kind of thought IHC were maybe playing a little bit passive here. Enigma Galaxy as well, playing a little bit passive, just kind of waiting by the water, right, for their time to die, basically, trying to hold on to as many placements as they could.
I say yes. I think that IHC played it wrong, though. I think IHC needed to go for a win. I don't like the fact that they played it passive. I think playing it passive is something you do when you're right there in kind of like where FaZe position was last game, right? Like, hey, you just need to put some points on the board. You know, you're not in the best position. But I think IHC needed to go a little riskier here. And some people be like, well, if you're riskier, you're going to really just destroy your chances of making it in the top. But if you don't, where they're on the leaderboards, I mean, I don't know. I get so frustrated because I wanted to see IHC just go for the push. If they went out, it's okay because they're so far down at this point that they needed a big game, Max.
Yeah, I like how saying, "Oh, they should have gone for the win." It's like, well, I think they were trying.
Oh, I mean, for sure, but like,
but the play definitely was not showing them trying to go for those big chicken dinners with the lava limbs. At least for me, it was a very passive approach. I talked about the high ground already. They relinquished it for free, pretty much, to the side of FaZe, and the moment that high ground was given away, then FaZe are going to use it because they have 3-4 players in position just ready to gun down IHC, to gun down Enigma Galaxy. So yeah, IHC here, especially because of their rotate jukes, they had nobody between their drop spot and that western side of the circle. There was no one. So the fact that they just are playing so passive on the edge was a little bit surprising to me. I think they could have got involved in the conversation, maybe versus Getso Roy, TJB, even to push off FaZe earlier onto Team Kesso. Maybe they can get involved, but unfortunately, I feel like they're just trying to get placement points, but we know at this very moment, placement points alone are not going to cut it if they want to go to survival.
Exactly, dude. And that's why I get so frustrated because, like, I mean, yeah, 6 placement points, 2 eliminations. If this was day number 2, you know, match 3, 4, I'd be like, great game from IHC, right? They put points on the board. They didn't get a good position, but they did it. But, I mean, they are so low on the leaderboards here. I mean, what were they prior to this game? Let me go ahead and double check. Yeah,
last
they were...
place.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they were in last place
for a while.
But I was thinking the math from FaZe, right? Because FaZe was in 11th. They had 98 points. IHC had 72. You're not gonna cross that with only 8 points. You need double-digit eliminations. You need a good performance. And IHC weren't playing for that. They were playing just to put points on the board. So I'm disappointed. I don't know if they realize what they're trying to do here, but maybe they were just trying to do it for this game, and then maybe the next one they're going to go for it. But if I especially don't see a win from in the next game, it's especially over. It's over.
You know what, Jukes? You know, despite our disagreements at the top of the show, and I wanted to just hard disagree with you here about IHC, you know, looking at the numbers, I feel like I'm going to have to agree now because, yes, wow, staying alive, getting places. Oh, the world's exploding. Hacks. Max, agree. The fact is for them, like, yeah, you might be about like 18, 20 points out of top 11, but you have to start making some moves, and you don't want to wait to that last match to make that move because anything can really happen in the last match like we saw last week. So for me, yeah, IHC, they have to go for it in this next match or I would count them out fully for sure. But maybe a question for you, Max. FaZe Clan, with that massive victory they just had, could they even be a contender now for top 3?
Well, I think that's a big statement to make. I mean, maybe mathematically speaking, they could. Who knows? That could happen, right? But right now, I think they're just keeping themselves safe from possibly going down in the bottom 5. I think that this game alone just solidifies their spot in the survival stage. And one thing I want to highlight about FaZe, and I think me and Blank kind of echoed this point a few times, is that Mela clearly is the star player of FaZe. It is good to see another player here, especially Onzen, being the MVP player of the squad. I'm happy to see it's not just Mela. Onzen is also bringing numbers on the board for this team and helping them reach 7th place. And I just hope that we see a little bit of a hotter start from them in survival, because top 3 for me, I'm not really counting them in just yet. But survival, if they play the way they played this match in particular, Jukes, I mean, I have high hopes they could maybe go the whole way. Like, that was a really solid game of PUBG Mobile from them.
Yeah, beautifully executed from FaZe, and right at the right time too. I mean, yeah, it is still possible, Jason, for them to get in the top 3. They got to go back to back though. They need to win this game though, as we get into these championship rounds, I mean, IHC needs to win this game. Udia needs to win this game. Everybody up in between, you know, FaZe Clan need to do the same thing. So it's only going to get harder from here going on forward.
One really big issue is that Team Kessel went out early, Virtus Pro went out early, Fury went out early, so they were having a little bit of momentum, but it just fell flat on its face in this game. So unfortunately, they need to pick it up big time for our now next 3 matches. We're already halfway through the last day here for Group Red, and the clock is ticking, and there's not many points available for these squads to make that comeback. And especially when you look at the top squads that are now getting a lot of those points, I'm telling you, I think that a majority of the bottom 5 are unfortunately going to stay bottom 5 until the end.
Even Alter Ego, I kind of want to give them a glimpse, man. They got 8 points in the last
Don't
game.
get
I think it
me
was 7
started.
eliminations, 1 placement. They got 4 eliminations in the match prior with with the 6th place. I would have hope for them. I want to see Rosemary get to the Grand Finals, but we're going to have to wait because we're going to head to a short break to get things ready for the last half of our final day of Group Red. We'll see you all in a few.
Welcome back to the final day of Group Red. I'm joined by none other than Senator from Team Falcons. By the way, shout out to all the fans that voted in the chat on that poll. Senator, let's get straight to the point. You guys are currently 20 points away from top 3. What are you guys going to be doing on the next 3 matches? What's the main focus?
Yeah, we still have 3 matches left, so everything is possible. And we will try to, our rotation even in the previous days, rotation was good. Now we want to focus more on team gameplay and team fight. If we win the fight in front of us, top 3 is even possible, even with the last match. So
Right on. Well, I'm glad you mentioned last match, because something that we kind of saw last week during the last matches were some hot drops, especially from teams that were already a little bit secure, or teams that were actually fighting to at least make it to survival stage. You guys are a big known team. You guys are a team that some people might try to hunt you down just to kind of make your life a little bit harder. Is the team prepared for some hot drops, or some teams wanting to engage with you guys a little bit more?
Actually, our boys always prepared for everything, but this depends on the game, right? Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win, but we trying our best. So hope like we play as we want, assuming we have hot drop, and if is as our plan, we have more points, right? If we lose, not some. So we should see the positive side also, I think. Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. Thank you so much, Senator. And for everybody currently watching at home, let us know in the comments below, what plays will Team Falcons finish? Back to you guys.
Thank you.
We are back as we got to hear from Senator coming in from Team Falcons. Not too worried about the hot drops, thinking it as an opportunity to get more points. Okay, interesting stuff. I got Hot Jukes and Jason Statham, or French Jason Statham, going to be joining me here on the desk. I'm not sure if he's actually committed to the bit or if he's committed. So Mr. Statham here, obviously seen a lot of these teams in PUBG Mobile going head to head. What are the teams you're really keeping your eye out on?
I'm looking at the big fragging teams here, Jason, and realistically, I've got to say, what the hell is IWNRX doing? No chicken dinner yet, kind of cringe, so it's gonna happen.
I think cringe. Yeah, Hot Chicks, what's your thoughts? I mean, don't be too flabbergasted that we have the celebrity Jason Statham with us.
I mean, I'm just shell shocked right now. I mean, what a pull, dude. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, yeah, IWNRX, extra cringe right now, dude, without a chicken dinner. I mean, hot drops, I think they're in the conversation at this point. I mean, you got your last Aaron Gale of the day. You know just how important it is to pull out a big match here. If you're Falcons, IWNRX, trying to hunt down Nigma Galaxy or I8, I think definitely in the cards. Jason, what do you think? I mean, Statham.
Oh, me? Okay. Oh, you better be talking to me or you'd be in danger, Hot Chicks. But the conversation for top 3 is very dark and ominous. I mean, it keeps going all over the place, except for TJB. It keeps changing squads. I8's up there, Nigma Galaxy's up there. I mean, Na'Vi and IWNRX might make a jump in top 3, so it's hard to predict, but I can predict anything because I'm Jason Statham.
No, Mr. Statham, I know you're going to be, rocking the primary acting role in the new PUBG Mobile movie coming out next year, and you're here to obviously research about like how to get into it and how to play your character correctly. And what's the team you're really supporting here, and the team you're looking to follow around and learn a lot about the game from?
What?
It was intentional.
I didn't know, Mr. Statham, that you were such a comedian. But we are taking a look here at Vengeance up against Ultra Ego, our current 11th and 12th place. And we can see, Ultra Ego's elimination is definitely going to be on point, as we've seen Vengeance in the past, specifically trying to play for these placements. But that top 4 rate is really, I think where Ultra Ego is starting to struggle here.
Yeah, they're having a bit of a... Can I come back? Is it my turn?
Yeah.
He had to like go film a scene or something. I don't know. He's busy. Yeah, Ultra Ego right now, they need to make it just further into the matches. Sure, they showed some good potential fights every once in a while, like Hans again, Rosemary. They have that fragging potential, but they just, again, the top 4 ratings of 9.5%, just 10%. What? They're just going out so early. I'd love to see their survival time, but it must be insanely low. So they need to step up on that front for sure.
You know what? I got a question, Max. What do you think about, at this stage, IHC is what, 18 points behind Vengeance, right?
It's not happening.
I know it's not happening, but like, wouldn't they have to go for Vengeance at this point, right?
It's not happening. Stop.
Okay.
Right. Mr. Statham, while we have you here, can you tell us about your favorite mobile device that actually all the players here at PMGC are using?
I'm actually really happy you bring it up. It's this device, Jason. It's great. The Infinix GT20 Pro. I recommend it. Me, Jason Statham, love this device. It's fantastic.
There you go. Right from the mouth of the actor himself. I'm so happy to have him on the show. We can see that Mr. Statham, I think he might have to go again and film another scene. He might be used on set or a mission. I don't know. I'm hoping we can get Max to take his place here in just a few. But Hodgix, Alter Ego, I feel like they do have a legitimate chance to get back into top 11, which is why I kind of have them as one of my teams to focus here. But really, the bottom of the table is it's so rough right now. Where again, one match can lose it for you. One match can almost guarantee it for you.
Yep. Yeah, and Alter Ego. I mean, they're in that stage where it's hard because a chicken dinner obviously would be amazing, but they're in that place too where it's like just putting points on the board is a necessity. So I'm not going to be ashamed to see Alter Ego play it a little conservative here, Max. What do you think? I know that you picked them.
I mean, looking back on some of their games, we had one around earlier where they were just completely scared of fighting i8 in the first place. I think that here they're doing something similar to IHG, which is we just want to survive to the late game and hope that it's enough to push us in top 11, which for Alter Ego, that might be enough. But again, we mentioned it many times. Those eliminations are really going to count towards the end of the day. So Alter Ego, sure, placement points good, but they need to take fights eventually. Pull like a note out of the book of Furia. You need to start sweeping the edge in those kind of situations. They haven't done it yet, but 3 matches down, they might start to go for some big, desperate plays to hopefully push themselves in the survival stage.
Well, I know we did have Seven give us information that Team Queso and Alter Ego are really feeling like their confidence is at an all-time low going into these matches, which I can kind of understand. I mean, for Alter Ego as well in particular, the fact is they got into this from PMGC points. They were horribly ranked in their finals. They were insanely low ranked at 15th place. I think our lowest placing team to get into the group stage here. They have a lot of work cut out for them. And honestly, they're one of the biggest teams in Southeast Asia. And to not make it to even the survival stage here would be a massive letdown for not only them, but for their fans. And we've already seen the impact on Rosemary, taking himself out yesterday in match 5, feeling like he's just not playing well enough to deserve to be on the roster, the starting roster right now.
Oh, yeah, their mental game's is at an all-time low. I mean, honestly, the way I'm looking at it with how they've been playing, they need like a huge circle gift, I think, if we're going to see them make it at this point, unless they show me something different. Because I mean, hearing it from their mouth, just saying that, you know what, that they're not feeling it going into this is a big statement to make. All I know is that I would never admit that. I'd be like, hey, we're ready to go, let's make it happen. You got to cheer your squad up and just kind of reset here, because they are one of the best teams in the world. You can't get in your head at this time in the championship round. So for me, when I hear that, I count them out already. As crazy as it sounds, that's just the way it is.
Man, that's rough. That's really rough indeed. And obviously still 3 matches to go. We'll see and check back in with that later on. But what about FaZe Clan? Max, you have them as one of your teams to focus. I kind of wanted you to go into why.
How they were around that quarry area.
Yeah, there's definitely a possibility for headed back down that way. So I think teams need to be aware of that happening, as we have had some funky circles in the past too. So that's something teams will have to make sure that they're aware of going into the future of this game. I think that if I'm looking at the circle right now, though, ASI8 do have a big benefit for the fact that they do start a military base and the circle cuts so much of that island in. There's no one else there. They have a ton of time to loot before they think to make their approach out. We do have a interview coming through from the coach from ASI8, and he's going to go over some of the little different things that have been going through that team's mind to keep them set up towards that top side with 7.
Welcome back to a quick interview with the 7WG, and I'm actually joined by the coach from ASIA, Trenda. You guys were able to get a chicken dinner. You're currently in the top 3. We have 3 matches left. What is the team feeling like? What are you guys going to be working on the next 3 matches to make sure you maintain yourself within the top 3?
It's a do or die situation for us. Yeah, the team is confident. It's now or never situation, you can say. Yeah, the team is pretty confident. They, like, whenever I ask, are you guys taking any pressure or something like that, they say no, we will go more aggressive. This time, more aggressive. So yeah, we have 3 more maps. So right now, we are on the 3rd spot. Inshallah, we will do better.
I appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much for your time. Back to you guys.
Fantastic stuff coming on through. I mean, the fact that you're not letting that pressure get to you, that is so important. The mental game is one of the biggest battlegrounds in PUBG Mobile, in the competitive scene, is making sure that you can keep your head level when all those around you are losing theirs, and that is how winning is done.
Well, for ASIA, I always enjoy watching this. This is not how you climb, but in PUBG Mobile, it's definitely a way that it works to get it up on high and go for some scouting positions. Also, a really nice spot to scout from, just purely because this is one of the positions where you don't have a lot of sight lines looking out this way. You can't stay up here forever, but it's a great spot to know when teams are coming, especially from the roadside. But going back to ASIA, it's a very interesting one, the way the coach talks about the team and their confidence, because I think that ASIA was one of the few teams that came into Group Red with the best mentality of, we want to get 70-80 points today. That's our goal. And that was on day one. 70 to 80 points on a day is a ridiculous feat to grab, but like I said, they're shooting for the stars, and if they fall short of the stars, it doesn't matter, because they've still rocketed into outer space, which is what they've been able to do during Group Red. 153 points. It's looking very, very nice for ASIA, and the fact they're able to keep that mentality up and take some of these more aggressive plays, which have sat them up towards the top side of the lobby, allowed them to win from spots like southern side of Everest inside the fields. Yeah, really, really nicely done. And I can only hope it continues, because this is a team that has really impressed me, and some of the greatest talent coming out from Pakistan.
Great stuff, great performances coming on through, and it's just kind of unfortunate that they're facing off against TJB, who have had the most chicken dinners of any team ever in group stages at these international tournaments since we've had this format. And they have just absolutely come up blasting, which is a little bit unfortunate. It means those chicken dinners haven't been going elsewhere. Otherwise, things may have been a little bit different. If day one TJB had returned, this would be a very different story right now. And things could be a whole lot more chaotic, which I know is strange to even consider that to be a possibility. Getso Roy, they have continued to keep up that sort of middle of the pack pace, getting into these late games, moving quite efficiently and effectively, but not really holding up in those fights on the other end of it. However, they are still profiting and should likely be in the survival stage, but it's definitely possible that they could slip down as well.
Yeah, if it gets to right, they're a team that was just about holding on, right, keeping the five-finger grip on the game so far, but they are now in a little bit of a dangerous scenario in 10th place with Incilio rocking up 118 points, Tiamba 121, and FaZe for the first time in a long time been able to pick up that 7th place. And not too far behind Falcons at the moment. And we had a nice interview there with Senator. Still feels like that mindset is good for them. I actually really appreciate the comment of the are you expecting hot drops? It's like, yeah, but you got to look on the bright side. As if someone hot drops us, that's plus 4 points, right? Surely. So I like that. But again, yeah, for Falcons, it was very obvious that they were very much working on their rotates coming through. Ooh, this is big actually. Coming through those first 3 days, but I like that now they're looking further towards their team fights, because that is certainly a position where they are lacking, and we saw that from the very first match of the day there on Sandhawk, where instead of going for the full 4-man push up towards FaZe, they lose that fight out, and that might have been the opening that FaZe needed to get towards this position now.
It's crazy. There are 2 teams waiting for this TJB rotate, right? That's both on either side of it, ready to slice straight on through that approach, and TJB on 2 gonna divert into the crates here. It's interesting decision to take on this path. I mean, you're using that cover from the west, from the east side, and trying to get around Everest, I suppose, and send all the way out on that west side of Gatka Fields. Maybe a little bit of a change of plans after they lost 2 of their players, but we'll see if they can adapt into this one. Flower, Triple S, both fairly solid, well, very solid players for the roster, so not out of it just yet. We'll see how much further they can go, but this is good news for teams looking to take that top spot from them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when you look over towards some of our squads who are chasing, Tiamba's never quite been able to get, Tongji Bao's never been quite able to get fully ahead of the squads in 2nd and 3rd place. They have definitely made a good breakout for it, but it's not happened just yet. Another circle that benefits ASIA, they can just calmly chill down towards the southeast side. No one's going to want to go towards Military Island, because they know that no one is heading out there in the first place. They know the circle's likely not going to end up towards the southeast side. Good shots from IWNRX as well, with that scouting position up on high, alerting their teammates to the squad that is coming in fairly quickly, and Zedwolf will once again take up position on that high ground.
He's up on that radar dish, and he scanned the galaxy for a point. Fantastic news. And yeah, he's just going to hippity-hoppity his way back up the pole. and see if he can keep that presence. I feel like it's going to get very, very dangerous quite quickly, though, and I don't imagine he's going to be able to stay up there for more than maybe a minute at best without going down if he stays too boldly faced on that position. The good news is there's a lot of trees that surround it, so in general, the sight lines can be covered off, but it's super exposed. That's not going to stop him, though. Shots over to Tixie, and VirtusPro lose one of their approach.
Yeah, I mean, VirtusPro, 15th place. They are not massively far away from breaking in to the survival stage. And again, not a load of our teams down towards the bottom 5 aren't. I mean, IHG's even been able to get up towards 80 points now. It's wild how close this is for those bottom 5. I think this is our most competitive lobby, and probably will be even going into Group Green. We had Group Yellow, which was a group of death just because it had some horribly strong teams over in there, mixed in with some of maybe our weaker squads, but still very strong. For Group Red, on the other hand, I think this is way, way more evenly matched, to the point where I think you wouldn't be unhappy to see any team drop out of survival stage and one of these teams from the bottom 5 jump up. I don't think it would feel like anyone was stealing away a spot towards the survival stage, because they all sort of deserve to be there in their own rights.
It'll be interesting to see how many teams from each group make it through the survival stage as well, Blank, and that's what I'll be looking out for, to see if, because of how closely fought it is, we're going to see some very strong teams from the top of Group Red and even all the way down through the middle of it have a really good go at those survival stages, see if they can get all the way through it as well. Maybe, and it kind of feels this way, right, where looking at those survival stages, you're taking 9 of our very, very best teams out of there, right, the top 3 from each group, and you're giving the middle of the pack a little bit more of an opportunity to shine. I think you're considering the fact that you're going to see one of TJP, IWNRX, Na'Vi, ASI8, all of these teams potentially lose that spot and have to go over to those survival stages, have some incredibly impactful games. A big shift over on the circle sends it to Ferry Pier, and ASI8 currently not leaving from the military island, with Na'Vi behind them, actually.
Yeah, Na'Vi was able to make a cool rotate over towards the Eastern Bridge and move down. And I think they sort of expected ASI8 to just be quite calmly chilling over on this side. They already find Noki because they have been brazen on their approach here. I didn't expect anyone to come down here. I didn't expect anyone to push out into military either. But Na'Vi with a very interesting rotation, looking to take up that position from ASI8. I love this. I really do love this. And it's very indicative of a team currently in 4th place. And they're taking out their direct opposition as well in ASI8, who are currently in 3rd place. So this is massive in terms of the standings.
I mean, they were talking about Sandhawk potentially being a calculated approach to the team in boot camp, moving on in, and I feel like this may be the same sort of play. You're right, it is so pivotal that it's against ASI8, and you know 100% of the time that ASI8 are going to be on this military island. So you push in behind them, you're moving on through as Na'Vi. This has been a great opportunity for them. They're playing as 3 on ASI8, but one of them's trapped down the cliff face. UZM split off. Falak is completely out in nowhere. And so whilst they are as 3, they're basically 3 solos right now.
It's painful. I mean, from starting out inside this lobby to being a case of, we have such an amazing amount of space to play around with. It's a good counter from UZM, but now this res has to come through incredibly quickly. We're halfway through into stage 4 coming in, where it will be unresable to pick up your teammates.
Chase them down.
Yeah, and he should do as well. Puncher goes out. This is a great comeback coming through from UZM.
You might take one of us, but the rest, a little bit hardier. Now they're aware of your presence. They've set up for it. And with the blue zone at the back, Na'Vi are going to be eating the damage first. Puncher, very unlikely to get rezzed here. The spray down for Flip, not going to quite connect there. Pushes back. And remember, there is still IQ underneath them on this cliff face. Lemon gets rezzed. UZM repositions. The 2 players from ASIA on the northern side of things will move around this coastland. They can get to the bridge and play in this zone as well, Blank. But it looks like they want to stay out and guard Na'Vi.
Yeah, Na'Vi 6 goes down to IQ. is a good comeback coming through on the side of ASIA. And again, it's so important on the standings with ASIA and Na'Vi both battling out for that third place position. So any damage ASIA can get done here is really pivotal. Essentially for Na'Vi, they need to get ahead of the problem here. And the best thing that they can hope to do, because they should understand that this is ASIA that they're going up against, is that they should just hope to guard them out. That's the best thing they can do. Even if it costs them their lives, what it creates is a situation where they can get a reset on the game. Out goes the bow. Good shots right now from Lemon, looking to finish things off for them.
Maybe just a little step too far there to go for an open rotate. They thought that Na'Vi were going to be across the bridge already, but a back step there, and Lemon drops out while the zone doesn't fully close. They've got 20 more seconds to try and find this shot, try and find this shutdown, and he's tagging the damage out into the water for Uzum. He is going to eat the final bullet there, and Lemon leaves a bitter taste in their mouths. I mean, there was some retribution, but Na'Vi exact their toll as well.
Yeah, unreal play, actually, from Na'Vi. Again, they just give up on their teammates, because I think that's totally off the back of an understanding of where ASIA are dropping. Should be 3 elims going through to them as well off the back of that. But well done to Na'Vi. I think that is a tough choice to make in the moment, but it is the right decision overall for their game.
It felt like they really had that all under control, but it kind of went pear-shaped, though, right towards the end of it. Disengaging us too, though. I mean, you're right, that is kind of the best of a bad situation. Tiamba looking to try and get rid of Tunch, but he won't go down that easy. They're launching nades on the inside, but he's already managed to exfiltrate on the building and do a lot of damage. Keep that hold on going. It's interesting, though, because ASIA and Na'Vi both have gone down. This is IWNRX. This is Falcons, both with a big opportunity in big positions as well on this circle blank to make a lot of ground up and get back into such that tight grouping of teams towards the third place bubble.
Yeah, and again, this is the aggression that I wanted to see from IWNRX in this position. They've been handed a game here, which drops over towards where they start their matches for IWNRX. So I want to see a little bit more. Vengeance has clear overview towards Na'Vi's push across. ASIA actually able to get their second player back up again, so 3 elims not going over towards Na'Vi as they left that spot earlier on. So well played to them. And as to, there's a good chance they can get further into this game.
If they can get up into the ridge line that stretches that tree-covered ground, but at the moment, IWNRX really not letting anyone else in, because this east side is popping off with Incilio taking heavy casualties, and FaZe continue to put pressure on the lobby overall. Remember their last game? That was pretty bombastic. We'll see if they can have a repeat performance. They've managed to get 4 eliminations on side already. The Falcons unlikely to stretch out for a big third party to their location, and likely the only team to counterpoint the IWNRX spot, the Flip, close by, playing secret agent Cody Banks right now. Yamek doesn't spot it. Flip stays alive a moment longer.
Yeah, that's the step up, move forward. And this is a dangerous run that he's making, but it's the only play that he can make in this moment. Get himself further in. No more first aid kits either. I think he's working with bandies as well as some stims.
Have they?
They must have seen this, surely.
Oh, yeah, they definitely have. They're going to know something's up. Did he just take shots? Not entirely
he went
sure.
down. He went down.
He's down. He's down. He's down. Crisis averted. Vengeance handle it. Na'Vi are out, and that is a pretty big team to fall at this stage with only 2 elims. They don't make it across the crossing.
They have to essentially now hope that ASIA go down early in the next couple of teams, so they don't really get too many more points off the back of them. But yeah, this could have been a really good game for ASIA, and it is scarpered by Na'Vi. Doesn't gain either teams too many points in the future, but it does just get a reset in. And for Na'Vi, considering where they were playing at the beginning of this game, to be honest, I don't think that they had that big of a chance into this circle anyway. So taking your competition out, it's a bold move. There might have been a world where they were able to get in towards one of these positions on the eastern side of the lobby, but who knows? We'll never know. This game would have to be replayed.
SIA actually spotting players from Vengeance, picking up some points there on the south side, trimming the overextensions away and maybe looking for more to the high ground. That's IQ landing another knock. This guy is on the warpath today, and I mean, you can tell why with the points tables as close as they are. Unlikely to see this flex back out from Vengeance. I think that might be Lily just going down, and IQ continues to surge out and put pressure onto Vengeance. With 2 of their players remaining, he gets the flush going.
IQ are actually going crazy right now. ASIA, you can never count them out until they're done. Actually finding 2 extra eliminations as well. Here's IHC coming against Tongji About. Currently down to 2 players. Nice nades over the top, keeping them at bay, keeping them cornered inside of the shack. And IHC on 4 elims on the game.
TJB looked to stop the first approach. Demo does go down. I thought it might have been to a team nade, but it was a step out spray down. IHC moving up to the shack against 2. One of them on a sliver of HP as well. But finally, just down to 1. It's just Flower to contend with. They got cut out earlier, and IHC are fumbling this approach. Flower low, but they're out of there completely. The third-party angle. No, wait, Godless is still there. Okay, now he's down. But so's Flower. What just happened?
Oh, dear me. I mean, to be honest with Godless, you gotta admit, in that moment, the fact that he's able to jump up just as a vehicle explodes and gets the DBS shot through the window is somewhat remarkable. So at least they're able to finish off Tongji About in that moment. Nice nade comes through from Flower as well through the window. Didn't even prime it, just allowed that one to cook on through, and then it explodes at the worst timing there for the boys over on IHC, who go out with 6 eliminations.
Blank, the point scoring capability of the top 4 is severely diminished now. ASI8 finally going down. They get 5 eliminations. It's a decent result given what situation they were in. Getting those 5 elims, as Jason was saying back on the desk, that's Kaplan, not Statham. It could be enough to see you safe, but towards those top 3, it's probably going to need a little bit more juice. Enigma Galaxy on that south side with 2. If they can survive for longer, they may be able to secure that second place. Zed Wolf finally having to hop down there. But IWNRX, 4 players alive, looking fairly solid in their spot. Falcons, 4 players alive, fairly solid in their spot. FaZe, 4 players alive on this northeast side. We know they're liking a frag out today. Can these pushes towards these top pack come on through on this game as well?
I mean, FaZe are just flying through. They have done this multiple times, though, in the past in terms of getting into tournaments off the back of their final days. Yeah, I mean, for FaZe, 4 eliminations. Like you said, point scoring potential of our top 3 severely limited. ASI8 were able to get 5 eliminations. So honestly, big thumbs up to them for the fact they were able to make that happen despite the shaky start that they had, which sits them a little bit further ahead of Na'Vi. IWNRX, though, is the team that I am focusing over towards. They have had a good game so far. 8 teams remaining, 22 players. This is where they need to make their breakout. This is where they need to clear that gap between them and Na'Vi and ASI8, and potentially even Enigma Galaxy on the 2 players they have.
Enigma Galaxy, they have Team Queso to their south side, but IWNRX are making that approach for Team Queso a little bit rough here. Getso Roy, I mean, trying to rotate into the late game here again, but they don't have too much to work with. Only the 1 player, and already Zed Wolf knows where you are. A nade, not going to target Car directly, but spots him as he peeks his head up over the parapet, and Zed Wolf takes it clean off. That's Getso Roy down.
Yeah, good stuff. Very, very good stuff there. We'll keep IWNRX nice and safe over towards that side of the map. FaZe, though, up against the Falcons. Both teams, I honestly don't think anyone would have expected both these teams to be so closely in contest on the leaderboards, but FaZe is here to play now. Big. Team Queso, though, nice shots over towards Enigma Galaxy, especially for Team Queso now on the chase above Vengeance, who are on 100 points. Team Queso currently on 99.
Remember, of course, those placement points are going to start to rack up for Team Queso, which means that they're likely already over that mark, but they want to be more than that. They want to be further ahead. Beat out Getso Roy on 104 plus whatever placements they got. Maybe try to catch up towards Incilio if they go down soon, because they're on the back of the queue on the east side and they have just fallen. So Team Queso, again, with an opportunity up into that 11th place now. Vengeance slipped down.
Vengeance now in 12th place. Not a good place to be for them. And Team Queso, 4th match of the day. A bit of confidence maybe regained here for them. Just so needed. And we saw them earlier. They looked pretty downtrodden over on the stage. FaZe attempting to get these nades over into the shank, but the smoke cover allowing them to keep the eyes off the ledges and make those angles to line up for FaZe a bit harder. Yes, you can try and throw a bunch of nades in over that way and hope one fits in, but a lot of times in these end circles, it's a good thing to throw those smokes because teams do not want to waste nades at this point in the game. Falcons getting will feel so incredibly bad because this is the game that they have been waiting for so long now. And East already falling right off the bat, John. Ooh, it's not a good feeling for them.
I mean, it's so unfortunate because they're kind of in the saddle of this ridgeline as well, between FaZe and IWNRX. The two teams around them on the tables as well. It is so devastating either side on the tables, either side on the ridgeline, and Falcons need to hold off this push. FaZe try and go on in, but it's being cut down here. East has been flushed away, but they still have 3, and only Venturas now sits on their flank. This is a big pickup on the position for the Falcons. FaZe may have just been able to lose out here.
Yeah, FaZe down to 1 player in quite fast fashion. So for FaZe, who are looking to put about back-to-back that Hot Jukes was talking about earlier, feels like it might be off the cards. Good shots from Venturas, though, finds another from Falcons, but Top is quick to readdress that scenario, but not likely anyone else from his team is going to stay up. So now down to just Top remaining as he tries to slither on through inside this valley. Team Queso, Melodious, can't quite go back to pick up his teammate Holgo, but does find some great shots over towards Furia, who are trying to enter from this eastern side, but the Fury is more over towards the side of Team Queso as they start to light the fire underneath this lobby.
Team Queso looking for the last player of Furia, who's moving out in the open, sitting down, trying to go for these spray challenges, but it is just a last-ditch attempt. Can they get the res? It looks like they should be able to. IWNRX, 4 players alive. A 3rd place guarantee for Falcons. I think they got 7 eliminations on this game. A big game for IWNRX as well. They've been waiting for this all throughout. FaZe, the team that fell by the Wade side on this match. They still got a decent result, but the teams ahead of them will accelerate away. The top pack also. But the teams ahead of them will accelerate away. The top pack also slowed down, caught up in the fighting on the south side, and it has not been a successful story for them this match. And it is, again, a front page scramble for 3 spots. There's 7 contenders.
It's more than likely, like Jason said, going to come down to the final match of this tournament. As time and time again, we get those sprint outs in the front line. That should be Falcon. Whoa!
How did that not catch him?
In the front line, that should be Falcon. Whoa!
How did that not catch him?
Okay, Falcon. I mean, Top just survives that one.
Just built different.
Nade protection. Yeah, wild.
Just built different there. Either way, still in a pretty dire scenario, all things considered, with IWNRX pushing up to the ridgeline. Team Queso wanting to secure themselves further and further up these tables, trying to do the Americas proud.
Almost goes down, but this might be the trigger pulled now for IWNRX as they hear that breakout. The damage has been done, but they don't push the issue.
I mean, Team Queso are on the back foot here, right? The circle closest to the center, and IWNRX know they have these angles under control. They have a lot of smokes to play with. They're redistributing all of their ammunition. They're playing this one on the smart game, not the aggressive style that we have seen from some of our teams so far. With 9 eliminations, with 4 more, they could add up to 13 eliminations. A 23-point game would, I believe, see them towards the top spots here. Blank, this is such a crucial moment, not only for IWNRX, but for Team Queso as well. The best case scenario for making the tables as interesting as possible, in my mind, is Team Queso get 3 of these elims and then lose to a full 4 elim from IWNRX, that would shake things up the most.
Indeed. Well, Team Queso, how do they want to play this now? Because we are in stage 9 now. IWNRX playing off the back of this ridge side. They would like the players in Team Queso to rotate into them. They have good control a little bit further over into the middle side of this lobby, but it is a full 4v4. But with Zedwolf picking up the first elimination onto Melosa, that's their big off angle. And IWNRX look like they're taking this one home already, John.
Melodious goes down, and Nade to follow it up from Kane. No damage to be seen in response. 2 players at the back line, and they're already eating damage from the shrapnel. Frozen launching that Molotov forward. Zedwolf as well, cooking one up, making these rotate so hard. Papi Patro and Cole go trying to make the spray down, and a bold push out on the buggy. The 2 of them almost go down as just Cole go down left standing. The last player in the mix for Team Queso, and Frozen rolls forwards, but it's the buggy to connect first. And that is how you shut down a game. A 13-point chicken dinner in the closing moments for IWNRX. We're going right down to the wire again.
And look, the big thing is IWNRX get themselves a chicken dinner, the first one of the tournament. This is the changing point. 2 more matches to go, but they picked up that chicken dinner, and maybe now's the time for IWNRX to get themselves back up into the top 3. No more sad faces, only smiles, because they can only go up from here.
They done it!
Yes!
It's
possible!
Let's go! Oh, man, IWNRX. Clutch badge has been earned, Max.
Just a chicken dinner. Jason Statham would be proud. I am proud.
Dude,
oh, damn.
Look at Team Queso. Not happy, dude. Not happy at all. And rightfully so, man. This was an absolute banger away to end Aaron Gale, right? I mean, we got 2 Miramars coming up. Team Queso are on the cusp. IWNRX just made things that much more difficult for squads trying to make it to the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, again, the point sponge at the top is even worse now that we saw IWNRX finally get himself a chicken dinner. But Team Queso, this would have been the big game here, possibly, Jukes. It was so well played, too, against Furia. There was Insidio, there was FaZe over to the eastern side, even Enigma Galaxy. And they knew that to really get some information while not taking too big a risk in this game, playing that ridge south of Longwood was the big play to make. But unfortunately, when you're dealing with IWNRX that sure are low on ammo, but they have the best weapon in the game, which is a buggy, you're going to be in a world of hurt. But Zeewolf, these are crazy What? 9 elims, 1.5k damage in 1 game.
Yo, I was talking to you at the top of the show, and I was like, can you imagine a world where Zeewolf doesn't make it into the grand finals with how he played so far? And he said he must have heard something. You know, his ears were twitching and was like, this is not going to happen under my
He's talking smack.
That's right, dude. 9 eliminations, dude. Zeewolf on fire in the final moments. This is literally a movie.
I mean, if it starts back at the beginning of the match. Luckily, the spectators caught it for us, the observers. We saw Zeewolf go up the tower with some sweet little hops, and he stayed on top of that tower, and I believe he got 4 eliminations from that tower. Then eventually he did have to come down from this one, and then he picks up another 5 eliminations on top of that, like Zeewolf almost single-handedly carrying his team through to the grand